Okay, friends. Um, I'm working with a different computer here. I have a new laptop, and I don't know what to say. I'm just getting used to the new controls. It's Windows 7, and I've been on Vista, and I'm liking this. I feel better about it. Besides, my friends that are in the know computer tech-wise say that Vista was really good at spying on you and wasn't as secure as Windows 7. I wouldn't know. Okay, now I have it set to widescreen. Uh, the sun is beginning to set, and soon it'll shine through the crystals, and who knows, maybe I'll be talking then and you'll get to see some of that. Me and my crystals, you know how I love them. All right, what's what? I'm just floating lately. I think the physical changes are continuing, and being in a body that isn't totally up to par, I would be more sensitive to those than otherwise. And so a lot of you that are in strong bodies may be much less aware of it. But I've been weak a lot lately, sleeping a lot lately, uh, somewhat emotional. And I guess I have to say, I'm really learning to enjoy the emotions when they arise, no matter what they are. Good, strong, solid emotion. When I'm in integrity, I mean, you don't fake strong emotions. Um, I finally learned to just let go and let it be. Let it be what it is. And I often find there's a change in me that comes about through enabling, through just allowing the flow of feelings. And as I've said before, I have a box of tissues close by. I tend to be a water pot. And also, I was away from it for a while. The summer was so harsh with the temperatures, but I've gotten back into sun gazing. And so my heart just soars as the sun begins to set and shine through the huge picture window here, facing west. It's just a beautiful time for me. And it's not a solid thing. I have pine trees out front, and there are openings between them. It's not very, very dense and solid, or the sun wouldn't get through. And so the sun and I, we play peekaboo a bit. But even when there are trees between us, you know what happens then? What I've noticed? When I'm outside and let's say it's too hot and I want to sit on the lawn, but not in the full sun, so I'll pick a tree. Um, and the pine trees let the sun filter in. So I'll sit in the shade of a tree, and what I find is the sun's rays are actually beaming an energy, um, almost as if you could see it moving from the sun into you, into the earth, into everything. And when I put that tree between me and the sun, what I get then is the energy of the tree coming to me on the rays of the sun. Try that on for size. The sun is our main body in the solar system. It's like when you have a full moon. By definition, the time of the full moon is when the sun and the moon are what they call in opposition. They're on either side of the earth. The sun is on one side, the moon's on the other, and the earth is in between. And then when you have the new moon, the sun and the moon are on one side, and the earth is on the other. And so then you have the moon in between. So that even though the moon isn't visible, the sun's energy flows through the moon on its way to you. And so the sun brings you the energy of the moon. It's very different than when you have the full moon. What you have is the sun's energy radiates. So does the moon, so does the planet, so does yours and mine. We all beings have an energy that radiates. And so what happens on a full moon, which again is where the earth is in between the sun and the moon, is that the rays of the sun and the moon meet in the earth, and they meet in you. This is when the moon has the fullest chance to be itself. It's shielded from the sun by the earth, and so it gets to radiate its own individuality without the admixture of the sun in there. Just some ponderings, celestial ponderings, if you will. You know, we're all beings. There are a lot of us that are ready and willing to admit and allow beings from other dimensions or other star systems. We're willing to allow them to be, to exist. We're willing to acknowledge that there are such things. Some are even willing to have interchanges with them. We've got the brave souls like the Alex Collier, you know, who go for a ride in a UFO. Well, it's not a UFO anymore. There's probably a better name for it. It's identified. It's not unidentified. And then I think some of the beings that we deal with, the linear mind wants to think that they are from another star system, another planet. I think sometimes they're simply from another dimension. And that's why we get some of the appearing and disappearing that goes on. I don't know. You know, this is just intuition. You read what others have to say and you listen to it, but I choose to take it all with a very large grain of Himalayan salt, the pretty pink stuff. It has to prove itself inside of you, not to your mind. We're having things, and we will more and more, that won't be provable, won't even be accessible to the mind. And the people that choose to remain in the mind, to stay locked in there and identified with it, thinking, I am that, there are experiences that they won't have, that they're shielding themselves from. And in their doing this, they're exercising their free will. And they're saying they're not ready. And the cosmos respects that. I'm just now looking at the shadows. You can see the bird feeders, the shadows of the bird feeders I have hanging out there. The ring, let's see, if I put my hand up over, how do I do it? Anyway, the S hook there, what's on the end of that is a hummingbird feeder, a quartz-size one that's on the porch. And then I think some of those other feeders are at a distance. I don't know. You know, the sun is amazing. It really is. And what's real is highly questionable. Maybe you've heard about the hypnotist, and this was done in public and reported by someone who was there, someone of good integrity. who said there was a man and his daughter on the stage, and the hypnotist hypnotized the man and told him that when he snapped his fingers, he would come out of it, but that he wouldn't be able to see his daughter or hear her. And he snapped his fingers or whatever. And it was so true. The daughter was standing right in front of the man, and he was looking out amongst the audience. He was looking for her and not seeing her. And the hypnotist he had a pocket watch, and he pulled it out quickly and put it in the young girl's back, in the small of her back, and told the dad, "Can you see what I have in my hand?" And the dad was actually able not just to read the time, he was able to read the inscription on the watch through the body of his daughter. Okay, I notice my webcam is being jerky, and that's probably because I've got a scan on, one of those security things. Let me see if I can find a way to put it on pause. No, I don't see an icon that's going to enable me to do that. So, sorry, I'll just be a little jerky. It's just an image, it's not me. And even if it wasn't jerky, it's still not me. What's me? What's I? So, when the sun shines in, a lot of times I don't use lights. I'm disappointed in our technology when it comes to lights. I really in full spectrum lighting. So I invested in the curly bulbs for the whole house that are the full spectrum bulbs. And if you get two of those, one that has the regular light, which is a yellowish tint, and one that's a full spectrum bulb, the same strength, and screw them into a light fixture, maybe an overhead one or one in the bathroom, that has a number of bulbs, and then look at the difference in the light. It's amazing. But it's not healthy for us. And so a lot of times
I don't have the lights on. And so I work with the natural light. And then in comes the sunset. And we know the amazement of seeing the little dust motes dancing in the light beam. Well, that's one thing, but you can see the way I'm situated here. I'm facing west, and my computer is between me and the window. My point, when the room is fairly dark, and the computer Can be off, completely off. And there's the screen, and it's just black. As that sun comes in, it bounces off this body onto the screen, and it's almost as if it were a mirror. The image is so good. It's like a planet. How can it look illumined? I mean, it's dust and dirt on the planet. How does that shine, right? Well, apparently we shine in a very similar manner. And so the light bounces sometimes. I think it's pretty amazing. Okay, I know there are numbers of you that are going to be so disgusted with the performance of this webcam while the AVG is running its security scan that the jerkiness will just be detestable. And so all I can say is be in heart. Don't let the little things get to you. It's no big deal. Of course, if it's mucked up the voice, then, well, it won't be an issue because I won't upload it. See you again soon.
Okay, so I'll be seeing how the new software can put together clips because, and pardon me, I'm just going to finish the rest of this video as I watch the sun go down. As I was going back through the video, I noticed I had started a thought and then didn't finish it. And that was, I said that there are numbers of us now ready to open to there being other beings besides just humanity, just human beings. And they can be from other dimensions or other star systems, solar systems, whatever, other galaxies, other universes even. Um, and yet, just as all time is just now, all space is just here. And so somehow, someway, it all coexists. Like the hologram that you cut up in pieces, each piece contains the whole. It works like that somehow. And the 3D mind really can't wrap itself around this. And that's fine, you know, let that be your signal. I use that as my signal to drop into heart. If the 3D mind can't get it, well, then it can't get it. Big deal. Doesn't matter because I know that within heart we know all things and we're in touch with, connected to, we are all things some way. All things are us. You know, words fail you at a certain point, but those who have experiential resonance with what I'm saying, I think will be able to follow along. So what I had started to say was, okay, so that's good of us. We're making way for there to be beings, and that's fine. But there are others of us that are ready to take it even the next step and to discover that the earth herself, the sun, the moon, all of the planets are conscious beings. They have an intelligence, an integrity, an individuality, very much like we do. On a grander scale, of course, but they're real beings, and so is a solar system or a galaxy. And when we're open, you don't have to believe that. I didn't believe it. I didn't know it. I was simply open and journeying in my meditations out into the stars and the star systems, studying, I don't know what, probably knowing me, the concept of perspective and what seemed like a long distance or far away, and how that was, I knew that that was still inside of me. And so I was out there amidst the stars, and I don't remember anymore. I'd have to go back to the journal. But it was like the first time I found myself, I was doing a meditation inside of Gaia. I love crystals, and I was just pondering the crystal caverns and caves hidden away inside the planet. And we do so much to damage her. And so I was in the midst of calling down blessings and healing and all that sort of energy within the earth. And I will always remember what it felt like to be doing that. All this is occurring, by the way, while I'm driving on the interstate, 2-hour trip. And it seemed I encountered a being, a very large being, nothing like on a human scale. And it seemed to be reclining, or, you know, it wasn't like it was, I was conceiving of myself as having a body and, you know, standing horizontal. And so this being seemed to be vertical or perpendicular to my position and facing away, occupied with something. And what happened was I got the sense that in the midst of my prayers and invocations of light, clued this being into my presence. I guess that would be a way to say it, or something. Something brought me to the attention of this being, who then turned around, so to speak, to face me. And I got over being stunned enough that we had a conversation. And I don't think I had been introduced yet to the concept that the earth herself has her own consciousness. I don't know. Maybe I had. George Kavasilis looks at it that way. I may have listened to his things, and so it might have been rumbling around in there somewhere. But this was my first direct on encounter with that. And even then, I didn't know that something like a galaxy would also have its own consciousness. And again, out and about exploring, as I had started to say earlier, I encountered the galaxy. Now, when I'm going out and about, when I'm meditating, when I'm doing whatever I'm doing, I'm basically in a state of prayer. I mean, I don't know how to say this. It's devotional. If I had to define myself by way of yoga, it would be bhakti, the yoga of love and devotion. And so it's just in the midst of that kind of a flow that these beings have addressed me. And so I learned for myself that it's really so, that they really are individual beings. And, you know, I don't need to say more than that. You're more than capable of exploring and encountering these things yourself. Why should I color your experience? Why should I give you a conceptual framework beyond the fact that these things are possible? The only thing I brought with me was my flexible perspective, my openness and willingness to be empty. And I think humility helps. It really does. We notice in a lot of those that channel, not all certainly, but in a number of those that are picked as channels by entities in more rarefied dimensions or densities, there can be kind of a God complex and an ego that comes into it that's really most unfortunate. No one is any more special than anyone else, and that includes galaxies and universes and things. You can stand on equal footing anywhere, anywhen, with anyone, anything. It's all a oneness. It's all really the divine self, and we're exploring aspects of our very own being. So I guess that's enough, and more than enough. I had hoped we might get some rainbows on the wall. I wasn't paying particular attention. I don't know if we did or not, but I'll see about getting this emerged and put up on the web. God bless.